Welcome, y'all.
Hey, Sherry.
Hey, Tammy. How you doing?
I'm good. Your voice gets sexier and sexier every time. Welcome, y'all.
We'll blame all the caffeine.
Yeah, because you're not drinking alcohol. You're drinking Coke Zero.
No, we're doing a weird time frame for recording for us.
Yes. It's a weird afternoon in the middle of the week, and we have to go to work tomorrow. But
yeah.
That being said, I'm drinking something called 1792. It's a bourbon, so
It smells good.
yeah, it's pretty delicious.
Yeah, I'm probably going to drink tonight.
Good
'cause
for you.
I have been on the road since like 7:30. And I'll probably be done with everything today because it's a Wednesday and you know I go to church.
Hump day.
I will be home probably about 10:30, 11 o'clock tonight.
And then you'll have your little drink.
So I'll get me a cocktail and a soak in a tub.
Nice.
Awesome.
Okay, so if you're just joining this episode, you need to go back one and listen to part one. Unless you're a Patreon member, then you already heard part one and part two. So if you would like to join Patreon so that you can get immediate access to part twos in the future, it's patreon.com/grits. And last episode, you did a shout out of a local business. I want to give a shout out. LA Throw. That's THREAUX. LA Throw in Gonzales, Louisiana. Axe throwing indoor.
And you know what? I will post their Facebook page on our local
Awesome.
Friends, Family, Fans.
Yes, go to Facebook and you can go to the Grits group, Friends and Family Fans, the Effers, and you can join that Facebook page. It's a private group. You can post there and we can post there.
Oh, y'all, please do, because sometimes I need a laugh.
Yes, there are some pretty good funny things on there.
Yeah, and I post most of them because, I'm the tits.
You are the tits. All right, so we were talking about Kenneth McElroy.
Yes.
In Skidmore, Missouri,
Mm-hmm.
in the last episode, part one.
And so we've made it up to the 1970s. And
he's had a bunch of young wives and children.
And girlfriends. And
he didn't marry all of them. And he has stolen a lot of, poultry, but he probably wasn't stealing chickens.
He may have stole some chickens. I don't think anything
Livestock.
was beneath him. But yeah, mostly he was making his money stealing pigs and cattle.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
The big ones.
The big ones.
Beef and pork.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. So where are we going now with this Kenneth guy?
Well, old Ken, who never went by Kenneth.
Oh, okay. Kenny.
Okay.
Ken.
Yeah, he went by Ken most of the time. And to Missouri it up, it's Keen.
Mm.
And or McElroy to anybody that wasn't his friends.
Okay.
They just called him by his last name. And
Gotcha.
even though there was like 27 of them in town, he was McElroy.
He was the McElroy.
The McElroy. And we left off where he had beaten, raped, burned, shot, killed dogs. I mean, just a nasty man.
He is.
And little old Trina goes back to him and the case gets dropped.
Mm.
And so he looked.
Everybody's terrified of this guy.
Everybody is terrified of him. Every individual
Mm-hmm.
is terrified of him. And that's kind of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was trying to deal with him as individuals.
Right.
And I get that. Because I want to handle my own stuff.
Yeah. But, I mean, do you think if people ganged up against him, it would be different?
Maybe so.
Okay.
Maybe so. Okay, so he ends up at this point, he's been charged over the years and arrested for 20 felonies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Done no jail time at this point.
Not a bit, because he would intimidate the witnesses.
Yeah.
He would charm the women back.
Yeah.
And he had that mob lawyer from Kansas City. And, that lawyer did what lawyers do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I believe in having a good defense, but sometimes...
Well, the mob lawyers know all the ins and outs and can get everybody off of everything.
Right. And if you can get the case delayed,
Mm-hmm.
and give Ken more time to work on the witnesses...
It's going to go away.
It's going to go away. And his main tactic was he would argue about the minutia. So they would have to
They would
have
get bogged down in the tiny details.
in the tiny details. Sometimes he could get the cases thrown on these tiny details,
Okay.
but regardless, you would have to go back for another hearing ahead of the trial and another hearing.
People just get tired of this shit and they're just like, fine,
Yeah.
I'm over it. I'm done.
And, you know, I got freaking crops in the field that if I don't get in today,
Yeah.
the rains are coming and we're
Right.
going to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't have time for that. So he is shot, he's beaten, he's stolen from, he's raped. He has just been an evil, evil bastard for years. Years. And I mean, and I haven't even included even 5% of what he did. Because I only told you about, what, 6 felonies that he was charged with?
Mm-hmm.
There was a whole bunch he wasn't charged with because obviously nobody gave 2 craps about the 12 and 13-year-old girls in town.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And I think that there were other wives, but I think he wasn't always honest with these 14-year-old girls that he was quote unquote marrying, that he wasn't divorced from the other one yet. So that wasn't a real marriage.
Right.
They'd have a ceremony.
Yeah.
They'd move in, they'd play house, and the house would end up having like 3 or 4 women and 8 or 9 kids at a
Sister
time.
wives.
Yeah, just crazy. Okay, so Alice, that we talked about last time, Alice
Mhm.
Woods, she never completely broke away from Ken.
Kept going back.
Kept going back, and she finally actually left him because he had a few other women by the time the story wraps up that were living in the house. She finally left him. She got a new man. She started supporting herself as a beautician.
Good.
Good for her, because she wasn't but, junior high age when he hooked up
Right.
with her. And, but a couple of years later, she has another kid and she named him Ken Jr.
Oh my God.
So this one wasn't supposed to be his, but I'm thinking maybe it was,
Yeah.
or else. I mean,
Why else would she name him Ken Jr.?
I had that thought and I was wondering if he,
Unless her new husband or boyfriend was named Ken as well.
unless that was kind of the bullying trade-off for I will let her stay with you if.
Oh, okay.
Because
Yeah.
he was sick enough to do that.
Yeah, he would be.
And people were scared enough of him
Yeah.
to go with it. And so that was scary.
Yeah.
Just the thought of here she is with her whole life and there's a Ken Jr. there.
Yeah.
And
Every
then-
day looking at the baby, calling him Ken.
And
Yeah.
if you ever, do you ever listen to Small Town Murder?
Yes.
Okay, it's one of my favorite podcasts.
Yeah.
They've also got Crime and Sports.
Yes.
Those same 2 guys.
Yes.
Oh, well, you would probably, yeah, because you're like me.
I know both. Yeah.
You'll watch football.
Yes.
You don't care who's playing. One of their rules is never name a
Mhm.
baby a junior.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how much worse could this little fart
Right.
grow up to
Yes.
be? Ugh. Okay, so we're going to move forward to 1980.
Okay.
So Trina had started having kids in 73. And so all of that wildness was probably happening between 74, 75, 76.
Right,
So we're
right.
going to move together to 1980
Okay.
because you've just got to imagine that there is no way this man has changed his behavior at this point.
Not at all. Yeah.
Okay, so in town, in Skidmore, Bo and Lois Bowenkamp moved to town. They buy the cutest house right on the edge of town, a little 2-story white house. They're hardworking older people. They're retired.
Okay.
Like Bo's getting Social Security.
Gotcha.
But as happens with a lot of us with a strong work ethic,
Got to keep working.
got to keep working. So they bought the grocery store.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Little B&B grocery in town, right around the corner from the D&G bar that was owned by 2 brothers. And they, in a lot of the material, they referred to it as Ken's favorite bar. I can't imagine a town of 400 people has more than
More
one.
than one. You're
Maybe
right.
they did.
Maybe.
But I also thought that was kind of convenient because, okay, kids, let's load up and go to town.
Mm-hmm.
Here, you and Mama go get groceries. Daddy run in, grab
I'll
a
be
beer.
at the bar.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is the 70s. One for the road was not uncommon.
No, I always had a road soda.
Yeah. So Bo was a big man, and I accidentally typoed that as Bug Man.
He didn't do pest control.
No, he did not. He was 6'5" and 220 pounds.
So he's bigger than Ken
He is bigger than just about anybody.
in town.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I have kids that size. You got a husband that size.
Yep.
So, you know, I mean, that's big. That's
Yes.
the kind of thing that kids look at and go, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and Lois was a little stern.
Not a problem. I don't
Not
have
a
a problem
problem.
with that.
Yeah. She wasn't a real cheerful person. She was mean
She was just to the point.
to the point. You know, you'd say, hey, Lois, how's your day going? Well, I'm here. And that was about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is going to stun anybody younger than us, but towns used to close down at 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was a kid, the only place that was open after 6 p.m. was the K&B.
K&B drugstore.
And then you'd have gas stations, and that was it.
Yeah.
And my parish was dry.
On Sundays, you couldn't buy alcohol. Or you couldn't buy alcohol any day.
You could buy beer and stuff, but you couldn't buy it on Sundays, but only in grocery stores. There
Yeah.
was no beer or alcohol sold in restaurants, and there were 0 bars.
Gotcha.
Okay. Denham was real Baptist back then.
Yeah.
So, and I remember, like, you know, I told you, 1978, everybody got divorced.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so all the moms went to work,
Mm-hmm.
and we used to not get school supply list ahead of time.
Right.
So when moms got off of work on that first day of school and you had your supply list.
We had to go to the store.
Yeah, and the only store open was K&B. And so there was this huge line of women in their pleated skirts, you know, because
Yes.
that 70s like accordion pleat.
Right.
Women trying to scramble for the last notebooks.
The last pack of crayons.
Because, you know, they had to
Yeah.
take care of their kids.
Right.
You know, things started changing at about that time. Things started being open more.
Yes.
Blue laws started going away, but
But when we're the time frame we're talking about, the town rolled up the carpet at 6.
yeah, they went home at 6 o'clock. They had a little dinner.
Mm-hmm.
She would drink her coffee on the porch with her across the street neighbor. Bo would go out, play in his garden. He grew some vegetables. How much do you love working that after you retire, you
Yeah.
take a day job and then you
Yes.
work for your hobbies?
Yes. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. But, you know, he's tough.
Yeah.
He's tough. And so their across the street neighbor was Evelyn. Evelyn also worked for them in the store.
All right.
Okay. And on April 25th, 1980, Evelyn was behind the counter in the B&B grocery store.
And Ken
And
walked in.
Lois was doing the books, and Bo was at the meat counter, and a couple of kids come in, one teenager and one preschooler.
Oh.
Okay. Teenager goes to buy a couple of things. Preschooler grabs some candy. Evelyn rings him up. And teenager's like, no, I'm not buying that kid stuff. I don't know if that teenager was a wife or a kid of Ken's.
Oh my gosh.
The preschooler was a kid
A
of
kid.
Ken's. And no, his daddy gave him money, or her daddy gave him
Yeah.
money. So Evelyn had to redo everything. Teenager paid for their own stuff and left. The kid tried to leave with the candy, and you know, Evelyn's like, "Baby, you didn't pay for that."
Yeah.
Some sources said that Evelyn talked to the baby, took the candy from him, said, "Hey, you know, this is why the Bible says it's not okay to steal."
This is about to be hell to pay.
Yeah, the baby does cry, but this was not, you know, they didn't tackle the kid down to the ground
No,
and
I
take the
understand.
candy.
They were just like, you got to pay for it if you want it.
Yeah. And
Period.
there seems to have been some kind of little lecture
Yeah.
that went with it. But what the hell else are you supposed to do?
It's a small
kid,
town. You're gonna, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many adults co-parented with my parents.
Right.
You know, when I was little. Aunts, uncles, neighbors, it's what you did.
Right.
You didn't hit them,
Right.
but everything else was fair game.
Yeah.
And so, well, those two leave, get together with the other McElroy women.
All the sister wives.
All the sister wives, all the teenage girlfriends, all the other
Then we're
teenage
getting the
kids.
pitchforks and torches, and we're going up to the,
Yeah.
to the grocery store.
So then this story kind of turns into, why the hell are you accusing my kids of raiding your grocery store and sticking y'all? I mean, the story got blown up.
Out of proportion.
And so Lois steps in and she's like, what the heck are you talking about? Ain't nothing happened like that.
Yeah.
And one of Ken's wives goes, don't get snotty with me. And Lois is like, if anybody's getting snotty right here, it's you. And between the two groups, it was decided there would be no more patronage of the McElroys to this store.
All right.
Both of them kind of threw down the gauntlet.
Sounds like a reasonable happy medium.
Oh, yeah. Well, old Ken isn't happy about this.
Mm.
Ken goes a little batshit.
What does he do?
Well, he starts parking around wherever they park, wherever they go. He's having words with Lois out in public. He's talking about him at the bar.
Wow.
Mostly he's talking about how Bo is not a real man since he lets his woman.
Make his battles for him.
Mm-hmm. What kind of man lets the woman wear the pants in the family?
Right.
Well, screw you, Ken. It's food. She's been home cooking for this man for the last 60 years. She kind of knows about food.
Right.
Okay. And obviously she knows numbers because she's the bookkeeper for the store. Okay. So, Ken would regularly come into town, go to the D&G and drink. Okay, and this town is compact. There's not but 2 paved roads in the whole town.
Mm-hmm.
And no stoplights.
All right.
It's tiny.
Perfect.
It's just a crisscross of roads. So
he's just spreading his shit everywhere.
when I say around the corner, I literally mean just around the corner. So D&G
You
is
could probably see the grocery store from the bar.
almost. If you cross the street from the bar, you can look over and see the grocery store. That's how close it is. And so he'd go drink at the bar and then go intimidate them at the grocery store. And then he started bringing it to their house. Because their house is right there on the edge of this tiny, I think the whole town is 28 acres. 20, yeah, I think about 28 acres. The actual incorporated portion. It's not very big. I got people most of the people in my family own more than 28 acres.
Right.
You know, because we like a little room.
Yes.
I mean, I done told y'all I'm a big old Amazon girl. Could you imagine a pack of us?
Right.
We want room.
That's right.
And so 28 acres for the whole freaking town. So their house was right there. It wasn't going to take them long to find it.
No.
Well, he would go and park in front of their house. And whenever they'd call the cops, well, you know, I told you he's been stealing crap for years.
Yeah.
He's got police scanners in his trucks.
I wouldn't be surprised if he had police in his pocket.
I think he probably did.
Yeah.
I think he did. Yeah. I mean, and I also I would assume that he was somehow moving drugs too.
Okay.
Because why would you need the caravans out?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. I mean, one man can't steal that much stuff to need that many vehicles.
Yeah. I mentioned that in the last episode. Like he was like drug lord rich.
Yeah, stupid rich.
Yeah.
I mean, he never was without money. Tons of vehicles.
So he would sit in front of their house. When they would call the cops, he had a scanner. He would leave.
He would leave. Or he would just pop the hood and say, well, I was just checking on.
Yeah. I had a little car trouble right here in front of the house.
Yeah. And just insane stuff. So, and then it just kept getting worse. He would go and shoot his shotgun just in their yard, like into the ground.
What finally happened to these poor people?
Now, every day, Bo would go to the bar, get drunk, come and aggravate him.
Bo or Ken?
I'm sorry, Ken.
I was like, wait, Bo's doing it now? No.
And on, no, Bo shoulda.
Yeah.
But on July 8th, 1980, Ken went to get drunk,
Yeah.
goes over to the store. And first, I mean, he was drinking for hours
All right.
during the middle of the day. Moves his truck across the road so he could see the store.
Yeah.
Okay, so already we got drinking and driving.
Right.
And then we got just
That's
being a
nothing
turd.
for this guy.
No, that's nothing. And he's looking at Bo outside of his store cutting up boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And, Bo can see him and he's trying to ignore him. Ken comes over and he's like, "So you mad at me?" And Bo's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." Ken's throwing a few other comments. He's not getting real aggressive yet.
Yeah.
He's just trying to be a turd.
He's poking.
Yeah, he's poking. And Bo just says, "Look, this is private property. Get off."
Yeah.
Well, we've already discussed that Ken does not
Give a fuck.
love. Look,
Zero fucks.
telling him to do something is the surest way to make sure he's not.
Right.
And he goes off. Nobody tells me what to do.
Yes.
So he goes down the street where there's some teenagers hanging out. That's the only people around. He gives them a few bucks and says, "Go get you a cold drink in the bar."
In the bar or the grocery?
In the bar.
Okay.
He grabs his shotgun out of his pickup truck because Ken's never not armed.
Yeah.
That goes without saying. Look, if you're farming, if you live in the woods, whatever,
Yeah.
you're armed all the time.
Or yeah. Yeah. Snake.
Snake, even for humanitarian reasons. Sometimes you come
True.
across an injured animal.
True.
You got to take care of it.
Yes.
Okay, so he goes back up the street with his shotgun. And Bo's sitting there cutting up the boxes. He looks up like, "What are you doing?" He doesn't even think it's real.
Right.
Because who's going to give... That wasn't an argument.
Yeah.
That wasn't a...
That was just Ken poking.
Yeah.
Like Ken does.
Ken shoots Bo in the neck.
What?
Yes. So here, 70-year-old man, big old tough guy Ken,
Yeah.
has to shoot him with a shotgun
Yeah.
in the neck.
I mean, he couldn't have survived that.
Bo did.
Good for Bo.
That tough SOB.
Good for Bo.
And I've known somebody who was real big like Bo that got shot in the neck and lived because he was so big. There was so much room between
Missed-
anything vital.
Missed the vitals, huh?
Yeah, my little brother. He's
Yeah.
got a huge, ugly scar running down his neck from getting shot in the neck.
Wow.
It was an accidental shooting.
Yeah, yeah. Ken didn't go after him.
Yeah, Ken didn't go after him. Say anyhow.
So Ken shoots him.
Bo lives. But he's a great witness, too.
Of course.
Because Bo doesn't only live, he never he doesn't go unconscious. He doesn't, I mean, he's down on the ground. He's having a hard time breathing.
Yeah.
He's losing a lot of blood.
He's aware.
But he's aware. And as they're holding his throat, he's telling them McElroy did it with a shotgun. He went west. I mean,
Yes.
he is clear and lucid. It's hard to understand him because blood.
Right.
But he's a great witness.
Great.
So Ken finally messed up.
Finally.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm assuming he had paid the teenagers to go get drinks so they wouldn't be witnesses.
So they wouldn't be witnesses.
Okay. All right.
So-
I got you.
But Bo is his own.
Yeah. He's his own. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, and because this day is hot as balls.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why anybody lives in Missouri because it gets like 12 degrees and it gets 112
Oh,
degrees.
well, yeah.
There's no
nice days.
There's nice days. There are nice days, but you've got both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
At least here, we only get like one bad day a year, maybe.
Of winter.
Yeah. Everything.
And then it's 112 degrees.
I'll take that 112
Yeah.
degrees because I've got a pool and a cocktail.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. So, but he can't intimidate Bo either because it's not like he would be bringing on this behavior. That's what's been going on all along.
Yes.
So it's nothing new, nothing that Bo thinks that he'll be able to stop this bad behavior, right?
If I don't press charges, then he'll.
Yeah. If I back off, he'll
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
No, you
No.
didn't. You were already doing
Bro, you shot me in the
it.
neck.
Hey, we got we got the stepdad of the other wife that got shot in the leg.
Mm-hmm.
And he did stop. He
He
backed off.
did. Yes.
But it was
But he also had the daughter,
but it
the
was
stepdaughter involved.
being the witness that brought on that behavior.
Yes.
It wasn't the just randomly Ken got a
Yeah.
bug up his butt.
Right.
So that changed things a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's some delays, but Ken finally gets convicted.
Good.
Yeah. But he only got 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. He shot an old man in
Yes.
the freaking neck and he got 2 years.
Okay.
Again, this is why I think he's got some people in his pockets.
Yeah.
It's not just
Mm-mm.
the other things he's doing.
He doesn't have just a good mob lawyer.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, people like old people.
Yeah.
And back in 1980, 70 was considered kind of ancient.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Like already I would be an old person.
I would be an old person too.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. We are rocking this oldness. We look great.
That's right.
Yeah. And now we got money and all the kids moved out.
That's right.
So that makes life even
That's
better.
right.
Okay. So anyhow, off of my dreamy life.
Back to Ken.
Yeah. So he files an appeal and they let him out on a bond during this appeal.
Wow.
$40,000 bond.
Please tell me he did not go back and shoot poor Bo again.
Yeah. Well, the town's scared. He did not shoot Bo again.
Okay,
I'll
good.
go ahead and alleviate you on that one.
Okay, good.
Okay. On his release, Ken goes back to terrorizing people. He shows up at the bar carrying guns. He is talking about how, it was at McElroy's butcher knife that he was cutting those boxes up with. That's why I had to shoot him.
Hmm.
And he comes in and he's bringing this gun. He says, I'm going to finish McElroy off today.
Wait, he's going to finish Bo off?
I'm sorry. Yeah, he's going to finish Bo off.
Okay.
Thank you for keeping me straight.
I was like, wait, Ken's
been
going to
a
finish
long-
off himself?
It's been a long day.
All right, so Ken's like, I'm going to finish Bo off.
Yeah. And so, I mean, the patrons are calling the cops and say,
Yeah.
this has to be you have to be able to revoke his bond
Right.
for this.
Yeah.
He's brandishing a weapon. He's not
And?
supposed to have a weapon. No.
Oh, wow.
So July 9th, 1981. So this is a year after he has shot this old man in the neck.
Yeah.
He's still running the roads.
Yeah.
Town is upset. And, there was supposed to be this bond hearing. Richard McFadden, Bo's attorney, got the hearing delayed 2 weeks.
Mm.
Not Bo's attorney, Ken's attorney.
Ken's attorney.
Yeah. So the townspeople are enraged. See, they were going to testify. They were finally banding together. And they were going to testify at that bond revocation hearing.
Yes.
And it got postponed before the people could even get there. It got postponed ahead of the hearing.
Wow.
So the whole town was like carpooling. It was like, well, he can't
Yeah.
get us all.
Right.
Getting there, nothing happened. So they all come back. They all meet at D&G on the 9th.
Mm-hmm.
They get up the next morning on the 10th and have a meeting at the American Legion Hall. How small town is that?
VFW at
Yeah.
the Moose Lodge.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And so they have a meeting at the town hall. Well, Ken gets wind of this. One of his relatives tells him, the town is having a meeting about you. Yeah. So he and Trina decide to go to town. And they go to the D&G and they have a drink. Well, all these years, Ken's been able to pick off one at a time people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, about 20 of the people that were in the American Legion Hall come over to confront him in the bar. And they're telling him he's a sack of crap and he needs to
Yeah.
get on.
Yeah.
Other 40 people are out in the street.
Yeah.
He gets up and he leaves. And so there's 20 people in the bar. Those 40 people are in the street. Ken and Trina get in the truck. Ken stops to light a cigarette. And kablam.
What?
And kablam.
A bomb? Shot?
Shot multiple times. Trina's fine.
Good.
Multiple weapons. And let me tell you,
They couldn't pinpoint who had what.
and they couldn't pinpoint who had what. But these guys are good shooters.
This sounds like a country song.
I know. 30 yards with a 22 hit Ken in the back of the head.
Jeez.
They had a 30-06 and he hit Ken and not Trina.
Wow.
These people could shoot.
They were done with his bullshit.
They were done with his bullshit. Trina's screaming, glasses flying all over her. She falls out of the truck. The townspeople come pick her up
Yeah.
and bring her in, and they take care of her, everything. Well, she takes off running because
Well, yeah.
she's like, well, if you done him,
Right. You get, yeah.
I've been supporting him for
Right.
the last 9 years. I've
Mhm.
been lying for him. I've been working with him. And so Trina tells the highway patrol. She actually snuck out of town to the highway patrol. That's how far up she went. So that's state.
Right.
She skipped the local. She skipped the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office had actually been meeting with the people that morning and left.
Okay.
So she's thinking
That he's in cahoots with
he's
the
in
people.
cahoots. And there's no evidence that that happened.
Right.
But there's no evidence it didn't.
Right.
He might have said, well,
I'm
I
going to
can't
go
do
back
anything.
to the office and I don't want to know what y'all are going to do whenever I go back to the office.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a car phone in Missouri in 1981.
Right.
So you'd have a really hard time getting me for the next hour and a half
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Right.
And so she sneaks out. She actually ends up has somebody come and pick her up. She lays in the floorboard and covers up with a blanket to get to the
Mhm.
highway patrol.
Okay.
She tells the highway patrol, I don't know everybody that was in it, but I absolutely saw this man fire a gun. But there's a problem with Trina being a witness.
What?
She has lied to the cops so many times. She has perjured herself
Ah.
6 ways to Sunday
To keep him.
to keep him out of trouble.
Yeah.
So if she told you the sky was blue,
Yeah. You're going to think he's purple.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So 40 people are close witnesses. Another 20 watched the whole thing go down.
Yeah. Nobody saw a thing.
We are talking 45 years ago this happened. No one has spoken up yet.
Wow.
They have held that secret for almost 45 years.
I'm rooting for the people. I'm rooting for the
I
people
know.
in this one.
Like, that's one of the reasons why I broke where I did on the last show.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I get to him, every time I tell somebody a little bit about this story,
Yeah.
as soon as I get to him intimidating this old couple,
Yeah.
everybody goes, why doesn't everybody just shoot him? Well, funny you should ask.
Curious. Good thought.
Trina did sue the town and all the participating things, and I think she asked for like $50 million.
Fuck you, Trina.
Yeah, she got $17,000.
Well,
Reasonably, he wouldn't have died if they'd done their job.
yeah. Well, she shouldn't have kept going back to anyway. Whatever.
Yeah,
She
should not have kept.
She's a
going back
victim
to-
too. I don't want to.
She was. Yeah, she was a baby when he took her in,
Yeah.
and that's why he kept taking in these babies.
Yeah.
And he'd get rid of them whenever they got an opinion.
Yeah. I was going to say he had control over them, complete control until they got old enough to realize I don't have to do this anymore.
Oh, yeah. And I did go to a lot of other sources, probably 35 different articles about this. But almost every article used this book that I did read
Okay.
as a source. It's called In Broad Daylight, just like that movie.
The movie. All right.
A Murder in Skidmore, Missouri by Harry McLean.
All right.
And it's a pretty good book. And there's a lot in there that I just I could have done a 6-hour
Wow.
podcast on this guy if I
Yeah.
had broken down what he actually did to people.
Every single. Yeah.
But it was more than I could stomach. As it is, just what he did to Just the parts that I told you about.
Yeah. The girls.
The girls.
That
it really
bothers me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad enough he was a thief, but
Yeah.
all these young girls.
All these young girls. It's bad enough that everybody felt helpless. That also makes my stomach sink. Because
the whole town.
the whole town.
I
and
swear.
towns around.
I swear it sounds like a country song, like the whole town ganged up and killed the bad guy.
It really does. I think I saw at least part of the movie back in 91 when it came out.
And
I didn't realize it was a true story.
oh, okay.
It looked like one of those walking tall
Yes.
kind of
yeah.
takeoffs. But this
Yeah.
really freaking happened.
Wow.
And Trina didn't live to be an old woman. She died at like 52 from cancer.
She had a hard life too.
She had a hard life. And that would be the story of
Thank you for
Kenneth
that.
Rex McElroy.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
That was awesome. I appreciate you being here on a school night
on
to
a
do
school
that.
night. Yeah.
All right. Ready for some crazy laws?
Lay it on me.
I'm going to give you Oregon.
Okay.
First one. Dishes must drip dry. Don't use that heat cycle on the
Or
dishwasher.
wipe them. You can't even dry your
I
freaking
guess
dishes.
not.
So I got to let them sit there on my counter.
Yes.
Ugh.
They must drip dry.
Huh.
Juggling is strictly prohibited without a license. You better go up to the town hall and pay your fee before you.
What about attempted juggling?
It does not specify attempted juggling. It just says juggling.
Because I've never been able to all the way do it.
I can't
so mine's
even-
just an attempt.
Part of the way do it. Okay. This is strange. It makes me wonder why they had to do this. It's against the law for a wedding ceremony to be performed at a skating rink. That actually sounds fun.
That does sound fun. I wonder why they hate it.
I don't know.
Do you think it's an ice skating rink?
I don't know.
Because then
It
that
just
could
says
be
a skating rink.
could have been people getting hurt at a wedding. Somebody might have done it, and there
You
was
could
like
get
some-
hurt in a roller rink too.
Yeah, but just walking. I mean, if
Yeah.
you-
I gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. This, you might want to bring this up to your pastor on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
In Oregon, ministers are forbidden from eating garlic or onions before delivering a sermon. People in the front pew do not want to smell your breath, apparently.
We would be so screwed because we're Cajun, and the whole church just about is keto. So
I mean, yeah, there's nothing wrong with garlic and onions.
yeah,
Just push the pulpit back a little bit further if you got a problem.
Yeah, that's what we do. And he's tall, so
we.
scrunch down.
Or maybe he could project above everyone's head.
Yeah, hit the third and fourth row.
Yeah.
Encourage them to come up closer.
Yes. Okay. In Myrtle Creek, Oregon, one may not box with a kangaroo. Didn't know there was a big kangaroo population in Oregon.
I don't think there is.
And then I also didn't know people were trying to box the few kangaroos that are there. But
Do you think they used to do that like they did bear wrestling down here?
maybe.
Because, they'd have that little traveling carny that would come
Oh,
around.
yeah,
and
yeah.
People would pay money for a chance
Yes.
to.
Maybe that's what it would be with the carnival.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. In Salem, Oregon, women may not wrestle.
Now, that just sucks.
I mean, just, I guess, no WWE Friday night SmackDown.
No.
Okay. And finally, in Oregon, which I don't know how you would do this, but people may not whistle underwater.
I'm going to have to try that this summer.
I feel like it wouldn't work. You think it would work?
I don't know, but I'm going to give it a shot.
I mean, we're going to have to see if we can go to Oregon and break the law about this whole whistling under the water thing.
Oh, and y'all, we're sorry we're not on YouTube today.
Yes, that's right. I did not mention that. We are on a school night, and every other person we know that could camera switch is actually working. So,
Yeah. And
so we're sitting here doing this for y'all, and we couldn't find a camera switcher. So sorry about that.
That's okay, because I had to come from a regular job And I don't know what I look like.
You look beautiful.
Well, thank you.
I came from a regular job and I don't look like I gave a shit when I went to that regular job today. So I'm wearing a baseball cap. All right. We love y'all. Go help our local businesses that we promoted in the last couple episodes.
Please do.
And
absolutely go to
Patreon.com/grits and help support the show. We appreciate everybody who does.
Because for another one of these doubles, one of these days, I want to be able to do a deep dive in something nobody's heard about. So we need to be able to join some of those sites that let you get into the old newspapers.
That's right. The old-timey, crimey newspapers.
Oh, yeah. And there's a dead zone for crime on the internet. Like,
is that like on the dark web?
No, it's when the internet came out, everybody put the old stuff on. Okay.
Oh, so there's a dead zone of time where there's not stuff?
Where there's not stuff. Like the late 80s, early 90s, it is hard to find things.
I did not know that.
Yeah, because I've got a couple of crimes I know about.
That you want to do?
That I want to do, that I remember because they scared the crap out of me. And if no one wrote a book on them, there's nothing on the internet about them.
So for those, y'all, she'll have to do a 2-parter.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to get both parts at the same time, join Patreon.
Yes, yes.
All right. Anything else? Am I forgetting anything? Grits Group, Family, Friends, and Fans, the Effers on Facebook. Please go join. We're on TikTok. We're on YouTube, but not this episode. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook.
And we should probably put out the Apple warning. Apple Podcasts have quit automatically downloading your groups and your podcast. They made an update about a month and a half, 2 months ago. And so some of you are not hearing things as regularly as you used to. So you've got to go resubscribe.
Okay, so go resubscribe to Apple Podcast and give us 5 stars and leave a comment while you're there resubscribing. Is that it?
That's it.
All right. All right, y'all. Tell your mom and them to listen. We love y'all so much. And we're going to let Zydeco Mike take us out.
All right.